What's up, men's physique fans, and welcome back to another video. The Dubai Pro took place this past weekend, and by no surprise, Erin Banks was the last man standing. But did his return live up to the hype, or did another athlete steal the show? Sadik is just a few days out from stepping on stage at the Tampa Pro, and he is looking to redeem himself after missing his peak and a 6th place finish in Chicago. But he'll be going against some guys who just beat him in Chicago, and also some top Olympian veterans who are looking to spoil the party. Ferguson announces his next show. Hendrickson announcing the fact that he is doing no shows, including the Olympia, and Hart McGrath is back? Guys, we have a lot to cover, so let's sit back, relax, and enjoy this video.
But I ain't hearing nothing great. No, they wanna take it all from me, so I give what it takes. Whole life been a miracle, seen everything but a cape. Why would I stop now? Found everything on a journey, but another way. Look, I'm not just...
This past weekend, Erin Banks made his much anticipated return back to the stage after losing his title to Ryan Terry in 2023 and leaves Dubai with the 1st place medal and $40,000 richer. But was this package enough to earn his title back in 2024? The answer is no. There is no question that Erin Banks improved dramatically from where he was in 2023. The biggest thing that I've noticed is the size. There's no question that Erin Banks listened to the feedback and worked on the areas that he needed to improve. But what Erin does need to continue to do based off of his showing here in Dubai is continue to nail his peak and also come in tighter. Erin is somebody who I truly believe has the highest ceiling of any men's physique athlete who is currently in the division. Again, he has a phenomenal structure, and you can clearly see that he has put more on that structure to maximize it. Adding a little bit more back detail and a little bit more detail through that midsection is truly going to make Erin a very, very hard athlete to beat. Even though Erin was not at his best, I still believe there was a clear difference between him and everybody else. Not only did the judges see that based off the scorecards, but if you're actually watching the show, right, he just stands out. Now, the craziest part about this all, Erin did not have the best back on stage. Also, he didn't have the best structure on stage, or at least it wasn't shown that day to have the best structure. And he didn't have the best conditioning. But again, men's physique is a game of balance. He had the best of all of those, which was why he stood out amongst all. Again, he had one of the best structures. He had one of the best conditionings. And again, he had one of the best backs. But where others may have had the best of something, they fell off in other areas. So again, this game is a balancing act, right? You don't have to be the most conditioned on stage. You don't have to be the biggest guy on stage, but you do have to make sure that you hit all of those marks. And I do believe that will allow you to stand out amongst any lineup. What a lot of people tend to forget, including myself, is that Erin hasn't been competing for a long time. He started in 2019. And from then, he has covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time, putting him at the top of this division. And then people also don't realize that throughout that short duration, there's still a lot of learning of your physique that needs to be done. Every year is a new learning of that new physique. So because of that, he is not going to be perfect every single show. He has to find his recipe every single year. And with this being his first show of the season, he is going to get better and better. And that's why I do believe he's going to be the favorite to win this year's Olympia. Well, maybe not the favorite on paper, but I personally believe he has the highest ceiling of any guy in this division. So I do believe if he can nail it, he will be in that top spot. But I know for a fact that Ryan Terry will be giving him a run for his money. And then I would say Hendrickson, but we'll get into that later. But nonetheless, there are a lot of young, hungry guys who are not going to make it easy for him. And he has to be more consistent in order to get there. But with this being his first show, I am impressed. There were some self-inflicted wounds, like his posing. I do believe that he can manipulate his waistline a little bit more. I believe he added in a new pose that was more of a relaxed front shot that didn't really show off his taper. And when standing next to people like the 3rd place winner, Abise, I think I'm still butchering his name, Abasai, right? I still believe that Abasai had a lot of strengths versus Erin. But again, nonetheless, Erin brought a package that was worthy of a win to the Dubai Pro. He collected data, and he's going to get better and better and better going into the Olympia. So we cannot take anything away from him. The return Though it was much anticipated, I do believe it was delivered on. So congratulations to Erin Banks. You're going back to the Olympia, even though you're going to the Olympia anyway. And again, you're $40,000 richer. And the shock of the show, hands down, was Carlos Okon, our 4th place finisher. Carlos looked absolutely insane, and I personally do believe he could have placed even higher. I get completely why he placed where he placed, but he was just a standout. He had the best back on stage. He had a lot of muscle density, but it wasn't almost too exaggerated for the division. It was definitely bigger and it stood out compared to everybody else, but it fit his frame. But also his waistline compared to the muscle, compared to his shoulder, was just insane. It was very aesthetic while also having a lot of freak factor at the same time. I truly believe if Carlos can get a little bit tighter and keep the wow factor that he has, he could easily be in that top 10 at this year's Olympia. Again, he'll have the best back on stage. He has great structure, and he can have the muscle to stand next to anybody. The question will be, can and does he look men's physique and next to some of the best in the world? But at Dubai, he certainly showed that he does. When it comes to the Olympia, there's always a different story, but I do believe if he nails his look, Carlos will be in that top conversation. And this year's Olympia will put him on the map. The Tampa Pro Competitors list has just released, and guys, this show is shaping up to be one of the most competitive of the year. We have a lot of storylines leading into the show, with the obvious comeback of Sadik after a failed comeback in Chicago. And then we have Deke Walker, somebody who has been placing consecutive second places, and then 3rd place, beating Sadik in Chicago just a few weeks ago. And then Ricardo Sanet, he is back. The rookie sensation is coming back to make a name for himself because he's already made it very clear. He wants that Olympia qualification. And somebody who already has that Olympia qualification, Mehdi Kabaj. Again, another veteran, a multi-time pro winner, somebody who is already planning to step on stage in Las Vegas, but wants to continue to spoil the party. A lot of guys with tons of potential who are getting ready to take the stage. This is going to be one of the hardest shows to predict simply due to the fact that all of these guys have been in a position to beat some of these other guys or placed higher than them at previous shows or at the Olympia. I have looked at this list 5 different times and my predictions have now changed 10 different times. This is definitely the hardest show of the year for me to predict because I do believe a lot of these guys are very similar but different. But nonetheless, we're going to give it our best. Coming in at 5th place, we have Mehdi Kabaj. Mehdi will be the most conditioned, if not one of the most conditioned on stage, maybe next to Deke Walker. The only thing that I do believe Mehdi does need to make sure that he brings compared to the previous package is simply his presentation. He needs to work on making sure that he hits poses that bring his physique to life. I believe he rounded out his shoulders a little bit and made his front shot look a little uncomfortable, but he is a veteran. He is somebody who pays attention to the small details, and I do believe if he can fix that, he will be much higher than 5th place. But again, until I see it, I'm going to hold back and give him a 5th place finish here in Tampa. But like I said, he is somebody who can easily jump from 5th all the way to 1st if he nails all of his controllables. At 4th place, we have the rookie sensation in Seth Ricardo, somebody who just turned pro in 2024 and had an insane coming out party in Miami, placing 4th place in what was then the most stacked lineup of the year. Seth has the highest ceiling of anybody in this lineup. He is the youngest with the best structure and the best back. He just needs to continue to build on that structure and again, control what he can control more in the aspect of his posing. If he can do that, he is not going to be in 4th place. He will be higher and he will be battling it out for that Olympia qualification as a rookie. And this guy looks the furthest from a rookie. So I'm really excited to see what he has done since the Mile High Pro, taking time off to improve, to probably focus on controlling that one variable in his posing. And again, if he can do that, it's going to be a shock of the show. And coming in at 3rd place, we have Sadik Hadzovic. The one thing that I've noticed as Sadik has adjusted compared to Chicago is actually his posing. And it's not just his routine, but it's the side that he is posing on. In 2022, Sadik was posing on his left side. At the Chicago Pro, he flipped it around. And because of that, I do believe he just didn't practice enough or maybe wasn't stage prepared with that different side because it just looked very uncomfortable. He tried to break his hip. It's almost like his body was leaning one way, his hip was going another way, and it just, again, just wasn't appealing, wasn't comfortable to look at. But he is now less manipulation of that waistline, or at least the bend in the hip, and going back to what he did in 2022, which I do believe will allow him to contract with his midsection significantly more and put him in a position to, again, show off of a lot of his strengths, his obliques, his detail, and again, his conditioning. Now, he does lack detail through the midsection, but detail everywhere else has never been an issue with him. Sadik has made a lot of improvements since he stepped on stage in 2022. I just don't believe it was fully represented when he stepped on stage in Chicago. So now collecting that data, fast forward to Tampa, he has more than enough time to right some of those wrongs, fix some of those presentation issues. And as you guys can see, presentation is everything. You can have the best physique. You can have just a wow factor with you just walking out. But when you open up in that front shot, it truly shows who you are as a men's physique athlete, not just a bodybuilder. Like, for the division, you have to make sure you hit your shots. And I do believe with the added time, he's going to do just that, and also nail his peak. So I'm really excited to see the new package that Sadik brings. Some of the updates that he has been posting are insane. And again, I'm not going to fall in love with the social media side of things. I've already did that once. I'm not doing it. But I do believe Sadik is going to be much improved. And coming in at second place, we have Ahmad Shakery. Now, that might shock you, because just 2 weeks ago, Ahmad just beat who I have in first place, Deke Walker. Now, the reason I have Deke winning this show is because Deke has shown to improve with every show that he has done. Now, there's no question, Miami was his best package, but he has brought comparable packages, but also has improved in areas that he needed to improve in Miami in future shows. For example, Chicago Pro, he came in full as a house. Maybe not as detailed and saran wrapped, but he is always somebody who should be erring on the side of fullness, because his conditioning is still going to be amongst the best in the show, if not the best in the show. So I do believe if he can bring that fullness that he brought in Chicago and just that detail that he had in Miami, it's going to be lights out. So again, he just needs to continue to do what he's been doing this entire season, and I do believe that's going to put him ahead. Now, that's not to say Ahmad hasn't been on stage in a year before Chicago. So there's a good chance that he continues to get better, certainly in things that he can control. If you take a look at the actual Chicago Pro show, he was very uncomfortable posing on stage. He moved around a lot. He hasn't been there in a while, so he just did things that were uncharacteristics of an Olympian, because that's who he is. He is an Olympian. He's been on the big stage before. He turned pro at 19. He's been in front of the biggest and best in the world. So there's no question that he is somebody who is seasoned, even though he's so young. So he does need time in the 2024 season to fine tune. And this could be the show here. I do believe this is only going to be a show that's separated by 1 or 2 points max. Now, the reason I have Deke Walker edging everybody else out is because of who is judging the show. Tyler Mannion, our vice president. And I am a firm believer that with Ahmad being a little too big, or on the bigger end, he's not too big, he's just bigger. I do think that Tyler is going to err on the side of more streamlined, conditioned, with still a good structure. Because there's only one guy in this lineup, in Ricardo Sinet, who has dominant structure, but I don't think he has what the other, top 3 placers have that are going to put him in that position. So when I, eliminate that side of things, I do think that Deke has the best of everything. Very similar to how Erin Banks in Dubai, right? He has the best conditioning. He's going to have a balanced structure. He's going to have a good enough back, right? He's going to have the fullness. I do believe if he can do all of these things, just have enough of each, he's going to be in first place. So with that being said, coming in at second place, we have Ahmad Shakery. And again, I would not be surprised if that did flip, but first place, finally punching his Olympia qualification, Deke Walker. Hey Siri, what IFBB Pro show is in 7 weeks?
The San Antonio Pro is 7 weeks from now.
I'm scrolling on Instagram and I see a post from Ferguson, who subtly drops a hint that he will be stepping on stage in 7 weeks. Now, of course, me being me, I pull up the roster, I find what shows in 7 weeks, and come to find out that he is stepping on stage in San Antonio, which is the last qualifying show of the year. So he is going to put all his eggs in one basket, the basket in San Antonio, and we're going to see if Ferguson can punch his ticket. Now, do you guys think, with everybody who is still likely going to be fighting for that last opportunity, maybe Charjo Grant, maybe Deke Walker, Ahmad Shakery, who knows, Sadik, right? A lot of top guys are still going to be fighting to get back to the Olympia, or some could even just be going as a spoiler. The answer is, do you think Andre will come out on top? And if you're asking me, I do. I don't know if it's just me not being able to imagine an Olympia without Andre Ferguson, but Andre is somebody who never gets out of shape. 7 weeks for Andre is probably a quote unquote typical timeline for him to get conditioned. So if that's the case, Andre is going to be the Andre that we have seen over the last couple of years, which is going to be enough to punch his ticket. And then he's going to have time to build on top of that going into the Olympia. I'm really excited to see the package that Andre brings, but I won't lie. Putting all his eggs in one basket and getting that close to the deadline has me a little nervous because, again, I can't imagine Olympia without him, but I don't think we're going to have to. I'm confident he's going to be able to get it done. Really excited to be following along over these next 7 weeks to see how he dials it in. For those of you who are unaware, since Brandon Hendrickson has been on the Olympia stage, he has never placed outside of top 5. Think about how crazy that is. And keep in mind, Brandon is an OG of the men's physique division. He has been competing and rivaling against Jeremy Buendia during all of his reigns. So the fact that this announcement comes so subtly, I don't even know what to think. This has to be one of the biggest news in men's physique, not only in 2024, but in a very, very long time. Brandon Hendrickson posts on his Instagram story answering a question from a fan asking if he's going to compete this season. And he says that he is going to be taking a break for the first time since 2012, that he will expand on this later in a future post. But that to me doesn't even sound real. Like, I didn't believe it. I had tons of you guys send me this and I'm like, yeah, no way. This might be AI or Photoshop. But I went to Brandon's page. I didn't want to message him. I want to give him his space. He's enjoying his time in Tokyo right now, but I can't wrap my head around not seeing Brandon Hendrickson on the Olympia stage. Also, potentially not seeing Andre Ferguson on the Olympia stage. And then Sadik, and then Jeremy. This has been a crazy year for men's physique, but this is the craziest news of them all. And Hart McGrath is back. Not necessarily on YouTube, but posting again on social media. And more importantly, his happiness seems to be back. And I could not be happier for him. I reached out to Hart, checking in on him, just making sure that he's in a good mental place. And this man seems like he's in the best mental place he has in a long time. This man is going out to raves, having a blast. He's back in school. He's focusing on furthering his education. And on the same breath, he's got a new job, still within fitness, training people, something that he's did before and he's continuing to do now. And I can't just imagine anybody better for guiding people, with his energy, with his excitement, I'm sure the knowledge he has through the years of, training. I do believe it's such a perfect fit for him. And after which was a hard breakup that he did speak about publicly, I am so happy to see him back on the high horse. It looks like he found love, and I almost feel like a therapist, to a degree, talking about this, but I just could not be happier for him, man. He is definitely somebody who loves deeply, and I cannot wait to get him back on a men's physique radio podcast so we can dissect whether it's the Olympia or future shows, but he's coming back on, I can promise you that. So he will be back, but he's just not back on YouTube yet. But Hart McGrath, I'm so glad to see that you're happy, brother. I'm sure we all are happy to see that you're happy, and I cannot wait to reconnect with you very, very soon. And now that we are caught up on all things men's physique, I need to take a quick second to thank you guys so much for the love and support on the Manifest Competition Wear board short launch. The first launch is absolutely insane. It sets such a high standard for future launches, and for good reason. The material on these board shorts are like none other. They are extremely form-fitting to help exaggerate your X-frame and truly bring your physique to life on stage. And the biggest thing that we wanted to do when it comes to making these board shorts was fine-tuning a lot of pain points that a lot of men's physique athletes had. One of those being the waistline. You see a lot of guys on stage pulling their waistline down because they want to show off that V-taper, but if you just cut it a little bit shorter and angle it ever so slightly, that is going to be accomplished. It was also not taking away from the aesthetics and the look of the actual shorts, but simply enhancing the look and the aesthetics of the athlete. Men's physique board shorts made by men's physique athletes for men's physique athletes. Again, we listen to your guys' pain points and we make adjustments that are truly going to allow you guys to be the most confident version of yourself on stage. So again, thank you guys for the support. If you haven't already, make sure you shop Manifest Board Shorter Competition, where you guys are gonna absolutely love them. And I'm telling you guys now, they're selling out quick. So make sure you check it out. And if you have an upcoming show, get on it. If you or a friend are looking to step on stage for the first time, get nationally qualified, earn your IFBB Pro card, or even shut it down to focus on growing for the 2025 season, or if you're a pro and you're watching this and you want to be guided by somebody who has also been at that top level and continuously knows what it takes to get to that top level, all I need you guys to do is click the link below. I'll reach out. We'll make sure that we are a great fit before anything. And again, I can promise you this. My job will be to maximize your fullest potential. It will not be easy, but I'm telling you guys right now, you won't have somebody with better communication, somebody who truly is invested in your process and your journey. And again, somebody who is going to make sure that they raise the standard of who you are as an athlete. So all you have to do is click the link below and I will get back to you guys very shortly. And again, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And until the next video, peace.